Dukkha Nirodha Arya Satya. We usually translate that tense, the noble truth of cessation, the noble truth of cessation, of suffering. The Four Noble Truths are one of the principal teachings of Buddhism. The Four Noble Truths are for realization and practice of the path towards liberation. Dukkha Nirodha Satya is the third one. Of the Four Noble Truths. The Pali term Nirodha means cessation or extinction. And Satya means truth or authentic reality. Then the Nirodha Satya is liberation, or we sometimes call emancipation, freedom. So most of the time the common term is freedom that we use for Nirodha, from suffering and continuity of existence, bhava or samsara. Nirodha Satya is typically translated as the truth of cessation or the truth of extinction of suffering. According to the commentaries, and many numerous places of scriptures of Dhamma, freedom from thirst or craving. Freedom from thirst or craving, tanha. Nibbana is soteriological goal in Buddhism. Liberational type of goal in Buddhism. Nirvana is about annihilating vices for all types of evils and impurities. Klesa Dhamma is usually translated like evils, defilements, vices, impurities. All those are generally used for kilesa or keles. Becoming attached and free from the world. Becoming unattached and free from the world. Enlightenment is about achieving a light of wisdom. When achieving enlightenment, one invariably loses attachment. So, the noble truth of cessation of dukkha or suffering, which is nibbana, is also mentioned as the ending of dukkha or suffering and its causes. And nibbana is actually a sort of penetrative experience of satya or the truth. Prativeda sadala prativeda tula labana addhaki. And accordingly, the third noble truth shows the solution to suffering, which is an ending to thirst or craving, by way of annihilation or extinction of thirst, extinction of thirst or craving. Then one can break free from the cycle of existence of death and birth. Thus, one will no longer be reborn in any realms of existence. If further explaining the same point, we could say that Nirodha Satya refers to cessation of all the unsatisfactory experiences and their causes, so that they will never ever arise. It's the elimination or the annihilation, or we can say the non-presence, the termination of all those mundane things of suffering and rebecoming. In order to fully extinct all these worldly phenomena, one has to develop a clear understanding of the origin or the root cause of suffering, such as thirst or craving, tanha, and illusion or ignorance, avidya. So basically, even though there are three roots, most of the time, tanha and avidya are prominent. What is nibbana or nirvana? It is not an easy task to, actually it is not really easy to answer this question at all, because the language that we use is developed and used for mundane and by the mundane. It means language is developed so that we can discuss worldly or mundane type of things. That means the conditioned things. But Nibbana is the absolute truth or the ultimate reality, which is beyond world, which is beyond worldly phenomena. So actually here we should understand that language fails. That we cannot use, that means by way of using language, of course, we cannot very vividly or comprehensively explain what Nibbana is. Total vocabulary of language, is to talk about worldly kind of things, not of super mundane phenomena. And sometimes those linguistic symbols cannot even convey the true nature of some worldly matters. The language sometimes, can be deceptive, misleading, or distortive due to different reasons. Anyway, we have to strategically, with pure intention, use the language, so that we can make some kind of understanding or even a clue regarding what Nibbana is. As we do not have any other alternative to define it. But when making some effort to understand the philosophical teaching of Buddhism, you must not be stuck in similes or words. So sometimes we can point out different kinds of similes, or sometimes we can use a particular vocabulary. But actually we have to understand that they are similes. We just use them just to make our task a bit easier. not because that we can comprehensively elaborate using words and similes. Anyway, we have to use them just as rungs of the ladder, not to get hold of it, but to reach the truth. One should understand that Nibbana is unsayable, inexpressible, inarticulate, and undefinable compared to other teachings of Buddhism. You know that the other type of teaching, of course, we can explain into certain extent. But when it comes to explaining Nibbana, it is not that easy. Even some scholars distort and misinterpret the term Nibbana. So when you say unsayable, you can't say it using words. Inexpressible means you cannot express, being it is experiential. And inarticulate or undefinable, we cannot easily define. You know that it would be a little easy when defining it, having quotes and extract of Dhamma, rather than using our own examples or wordings. I think we should avoid using either positive or negative forms, as it is needed. But we can talk about two aspects of Nibbana. The total extinction of defilements or evils is called Kilesa Parinibbana, or Sopadisesa Parinibbana, which means enlightenment with remaining. That means we are still alive, but when it comes to understanding, you are enlightened. The experience or penetrating the truth or attainment of arahatship, of perfect holiness, can take place with 5 aggregates of existence are still remaining. Nirvana with the remainder. Remainder mean 5 aggregates. Physically and mentally, you are here. But when it comes to understanding, you are totally liberated and enlightened. So that is identified to be Kilesa Parinibbana or Sopadisesa Parinibbana. The total extinction of 5 aggregates of fully holy ones is called Kanda Parinibbana or Anupadisesa Parinibbana. The attainment of enlightenment or Nibbana without remainder, which takes place at the death or passing away of Arahat or fully enlightened ones. So, likewise, we cannot see 2 different types of Nibbana. However, it doesn't mean that we have 2 kinds of Nibbana. That is the same thing with remainder and unremained. Some say that Nibbana is a state of nihility or negative. Negative or positive is relative, in the existence. So we cannot use either negative terms or positive terms, especially when talking about Nibbana. When considering conditioned phenomena, Sankata, Nibbana is free from those worldly matters, and nothingness involved in terms of the condition. So when talking about Nibbana, we have to talk about kind of nothingness, but it means it is in terms of the condition, because Nibbana is objective, an absolute truth, and beyond duality and relativity. So you know that when you take a coin, it has two sides. Likewise, when it comes to the condition, all the time uh, we can talk about duality. Based on that, relativity is also involved there. But when talking about Nibbana, we cannot use those two terms, because uh, Nibbana is beyond duality as well as relativity. So Nibbana is freedom or emancipation from all worldly phenomena. Another way we can say free from time and space, duality and relativity. You know that now you can see a pencil is in my hand, right? Now just to exist this pencil, a particular time is taken, as well as sort of space to apply. According to the width and length, a particular space is taken of the space, as well as time is taken. Sometimes maybe 5 years or 10 years takes just to exist this type of physical thing. So likewise, maybe living or unliving, whatever it may be, a particular amount or quantity of space and time is taken just to exist, kind of condition or worldly type of phenomenon. But when it comes to Nibbana, of course, it is free from or away from time and space, as well as duality and relativity. All living and non-living, the conditioned, are composed of 6 great elements: solidity, fluidity, heat, motion, space, and consciousness. Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayu, Akasa, Vijnana. Those, when it comes to the condition, those 6 type of great elements are involved. But when it comes to Nibbana, of course, none of those elements are involved. Nibbana is free from those 6 elements. According to the analysis of Panchaskandha, no self, or I, or me, or myself can be found there. When it comes to Buddhist analysis of Panchaskandha, we cannot find a self or selfness involved there. A flow or process is understood to be existence, which is constantly undergoing change. So, Nibbana is beyond logic and related reason. Logical reasoning always involves in worldly matters, right? A blind person cannot have correct idea about light, right? If If a person is born blind, he cannot have any sort of idea regarding light. But one can explain him about light. Somebody can explain him what light is. Right? If the person who explained about light is eloquent or capable, right? He may try using sort of a logical approach just to make him convinced regarding what light is. Right? The blind person then may come to a logical conclusion about light, right? And may have some imagination about light. He may be able to come to sort of logical conclusion. But the blind person cannot correctly understand what light is. In order to see light, one needs only eyes, not logic. Because light is an experience. So Nibbana is connected with sort of experience, penetrating. With the realization of the truth, you are able to see things objectively. Yathanubhutiva balanpuva. As they are without the clouds of illusion and chains of attachment of craving. It is what happens when one attains the enlightenment. However, we cannot consider Nibbana to be a result of extinction of thirst or craving. If considered to be a result, if we consider Nibbana is a sort of result of something else, then Nibbana turns to be of the condition which happens due to cause and effect. So we cannot point out Nibbana is a result of this and that. It is kind of freedom achieved by pure understanding. Nibbana cannot be postulated to be a result or effect of anything. ඵලයක් හැටියට පනවන්න බෑ දෙයක. It is pure awareness and freedom. පිරිසිදු අවබෝධයයි නිදහසයි. Nibbana is also not considered to be a result of eightfold path. You know that by way of following, practicing the eightfold path, one can achieve. but anyway, we cannot point out Nibbana to be kind of result which can be reaped out of eightfold path. We cannot elaborate Nibbana in that way. However, that means path is not a result of destination. Right? Using the path, you can reach your destination. So reaching of destination is not the result of the path. So yeah, there we have to very subtle, we have to very subtle way we have to understand. We cannot postulate anything after Nibbana, being it is the end, as it is the ultimate realization. There is nothing beyond that. Awakening of pure wisdom. So that is the end. Wisdom is not an education. scholarly phenomena or any conceptual knowledge. ප්‍රඥාව අධ්‍යාපනයක් දැනුම සංකල්ප දැනුමක් එහෙම එකක් නෙවෙයි. Wisdom means being aware of one's own life, the authentic nature of existence, suffering, causes of suffering, and extinction from suffering, and being free from becoming and re-becoming, and enjoy happiness till the remaining ends. So that means wisdom is pure understanding of the fourth noble truth. We achieve that taking one's own life to be an example. Some raise a question that if there is no self, who realizes Nibbana? So that is a sort of popular question raised by many. It is a wrong question to be raised, as Buddhism doesn't mention or admit the notion of self or selfness. So nobody can question of a self or selfness, as we do not talk about that kind of thing. In the analysis of Panchaskandha, it is comprehensively explained that 5 aggregates are a flow of process, undergoing constant change. Even the mind is understood to be a stream of consciousness. Nibbana is extinction of the flow of 5 aggregates. No postulation of self or selfness involved. Likewise, to understand or penetrate, that means when it comes to, I told you that when it comes to a blind person cannot see light, being it is experiential. Likewise, you need the eyes of wisdom to penetrate the truth and realize the enlightenment. Worldly logic can do nothing there. The instant you explain it in words, then you be away from it. Now you see that if you are recovered from a very painful sickness, right, you cannot explain the experience of being recovered. You can explain the medication, the treatment that you underwent, but not the experience of recovery and relief. That is kind of experience. Khinang Puranang Navang Napti Sambhavang. Viratta Chitta Ayatike Bhavasming Te Kina Bija Aviruddhischanda Nibbanti Dira Yatayang Padiko. The liberated ones have depreciated and destroyed and uprooted of all the deeply rooted previous karma. Hinam Purana, or defilements, and thus have ceased Navangnati Sambhava, thus have ceased re-becoming. Navannati Sambhava, in the cycle of death and birth. Tekina Bija Viruddha. Their minds are free from attachment. They don't create new seeds of volitions, which cause rebecoming in future too. The arahats passed away just as blowing out of a lamp, of which we cannot say the direction to which the extinguished flame went. Once a bhikkhu named Uday questioned Sariputta Thero. The chief Sariputta Thero means the chief disciple of the Buddha. Uday Thero asked, what use does it have, being not in all of an individual who enjoys it? That means he pointed out that Nibbana is no use of attaining Nibbana as an individual is not in all there, because nobody is to enjoy that. Then Sariputta, what's it if there's no sensation involved? That means Uday Theras, what's if, what is it if there's no sensation involved? Vindina kenek naththam mokadda wedi? Then Sariputta Thera replied that non-involvement of self to enjoy is the reason itself of the ultimate happiness. If that individualism or self is involved, there we cannot have ultimate realism. We cannot have absolute realization when individuality or self involved. That happiness is only real as non-sensational. Accordingly, it's very clear that Nibbana is not a happiness of sensation. Right? You know that he who attains the truth or Nibbana is the happiest. He is free from all worries, distresses, complications, sorrows, lamentations, different kinds of troubles, difficulties, and so on. His psychology is perfect and pure. Such ones do not repent or regret thinking about the past. And nor are they anxious, worried, or nervous, thinking over the future, but totally live at present. They enjoy pure happiness in life. Their sense faculties are serene and calm. You know that they are not involved in tedious chasing of sensual pleasures. Right? You know that when chasing after sensual pleasures is rather tedious. However much strategic approach we take, we cannot be satisfied continuously. Having sensual pleasures. Then we should understand that their life flows when it comes to the fully enlightened one. Their life flows on four sublime abodes. Brahma Vihara. Universal love or loving kindness, metta. Compassion, karuna. altruistic joy, or sympathetic joy, mudita, equanimity, upekka. So that is the conduct that one can observe from the enlightened one, from their life, while they are alive in this world, before they passing away. And they help others with pure intention, as they have no concern of self. Now we will see some of the definitions for Nibbana that we can find in the Pali canons, in the scriptures. Nibbana or emancipation or freedom is an extinction of birth, aging, decay, death, and so forth. When a flame or a burning fire ceased, none cannot postulate a direction where the extinguished flame went. When you blow out a candle, when you blow off a candle, right, we cannot postulate, we cannot point out a particular direction where the flame went. So that is sort of totally cessation. If somebody asks the direction, that is a wrong question. Likewise, if somebody asks where the enlightened one goes after death, that is also just like asking a similar question of extinguished lamp. Nibbana is absolute extinction of greed, hate, and delusion, the root causes of defilements, from which or with which we are bound to the existence. And uncontrollable clinging to existence. Even though how much sometimes we know that we can understand that these sensational pleasures ends up in grief. But anyway, due to uncontrollable kind of clinging to existence, we cannot do away all these defilements at once. Nibbana is the state of deliverance of mind. In Pali we call Cheto Vimutti. And deliverance of wisdom, Panya Vimutti, which occur in fruition of enlightenment. When you attain enlightenment, you become to a state of deliverance of mind and wisdom. It is just like extinguishing a fire when falling stops. Pajjo tasseva nibbānam vimukko chetaso ahu. It's a saying by Anuruddha Mahatera in Mahaparinibbāna Sutta. Nibbana is extinction of thirst, tanakka, craving and illusion, relief and escape from all evils, defilements, vices, and so on. Nibbana is unconditioned, asanka, absence of thirst, viraga, cessation, nirodha, blowing out of existence or e-becoming, uprooting of attachments, ceasing of continuity, bhava nirodha, or existence and re-becoming. Now there we remove, uproot all type of attachment which causes existence and rebecoming. And destruction of craving for 5 aggregates of attachment is Nibbana. So, Nibbana is eternal and beyond both suffering and comfort. The nature of those who have realized the holiness and enlightenment, they are truly happy. So actually, we are happy at a time when certain conditions are there for our happiness, then we are happy. But when it comes to fully enlightened, their life is totally happy, as they are free from everything. Just like sunlight, sun rays. Pain and pleasure no longer affect them and control their emotions, as both emotions are diminished. Now we have a lot of negative and positive emotions, but that when it comes to enlightenment, emotions, involvement of emotions are no more. Emotions cannot control them. They are away from them. They take great delight in silence. But if one is not enlightened, he is really afraid being silent. But when it comes to enlightenment, they are delightful in utter silence. And they do neither good nor bad for emancipation. Punya papa pahinas. But when it comes to social kind of rituals and activities, sometimes they perform not because that they want merit or anything, not because of emancipation. It is because of the betterment of the other people who are living with them without enlightenment. So they take great delight in silence and they do neither good nor bad. They do neither good nor bad for emancipation, as they have done what has to be done. The victory of expression of the fully enlightened holy ones. They say birth is ended, the holy life is fulfilled, the task done, nothing left for emancipation. Pangita Nikaya. This is how we can talk about their life. They have ended birth. No further birth involved. And the holy life fulfilled. They do not have any kind of rituals, spiritual practices to be performed for the sake of emancipation. The task done. What is to be done has been done. Nothing left for emancipation. For the achievement of freedom, emancipation, liberation, they have nothing. And when it comes to when talking about Nibbana, we sometimes we talk about this particular term as well, Sabbe Dhamma Anatta. Here Dhamma is used with very wide meaning. Even Nibbana is involved there. So when it comes to Nibbana, we should understand Anatta is involved there because nobody involves in Nibbana. affirms that not only the condition but also Nibbana is no involvement of soul or self or selfness, I, me, or mine. Nothing in all there. So you can see that the first oil lamp is burning, the other is the candle is blown out. But if somebody question regarding the direction to which the flame of the blown out candle when go, or when we cannot postulate a particular direction, or that kind of question cannot be applied there. Present perfect tense, right? When it comes to the structural formation, or when we are going to form sentences, we have to use either has to have according to the subject. Then the ordinary verb is used in the past participle form, right? You know that whatever the verb we take, each and every verb has three major forms: base form, second is the simple past, third is the past participle. Go, went, gone. See, the three forms are different from each other. Come, came, come. The first and the third are the same, but the second is different. We sometimes three major forms are the same. Cut, 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 put, like that. So we call those, or we consider those type of verbs to be irregular. And count, counted, invite, invited. You can see all the time the second and the third are ended from ed, and they are regular verbs because they have a particular, that particular pattern is involved in changing the three major forms. So we consider them to be regular. And we use the present perfect tense to talk about completed actions of which results are experiential or available at present. Right? The action is already completed, but we can see or experience the result that comes out of the action. Now we can say the class has started. When you say the class has started, the action is starting, that is already finished and gone to the past. Right? But you can see the class is in progress now. Right? The action is starting, it is finished and gone to the past, but we can see the result at present. The result is the class is in progress now. Right? And we can connect, we can say hasn't, haven't here, as they are helping verbs. You know that when using either has to have to be the main verb, we don't directly connect negative with them. When it comes to simple present tense, I think you can remember, they come here, they have lunch at 12:30. They have lunch at 12:30. Negative, they don't have. We don't say they haven't lunch. He has a bath every day. When it comes to negative, we separate does out of has and connect negative with that. Once you separate does out of has, remainder is the base form have. He doesn't have a bath every day. In simple present, when using either has to have to be the main verb, we don't directly connect negative with either has to have. But here, of course, you can see negative, not is connected with either has to have, as they are used to be helping verbs. And we bought a new house, right? When you say that we bought a new house, the action is buying, it is finished and gone to the past. And you have the result. Result means you possess a new house right now. Right? Have you finished reading the newspaper? If you have finished reading the newspaper, I can have it for reading as a result. And you see that a few more examples. It is too late to lock the stable after the horse has left. Who has never tasted bitter who has never tasted bitter knows not what is sweet. A few more examples. Right, it has stopped raining, we can go now. As a result, we can leave now. I'm looking for Nimal, have you seen him? Now, if you are mistaken, you can correct your mistake. But you know that if you are mistaken, don't cut off your mistakes, don't delete them, don't cross it out. Just leave them there itself and take down the correct below the incorrect or somewhere close to the incorrect, right? Using a pen of different color. Then whenever you are free, you can compare your mistake with the correct. By comparing, I think you yourself can understand what your mistake is, whether it is related to grammar, word order, or anything. So you know that to understand mistake is kind of learning. I'm looking for Nimal. Have you seen him? Have you seen him? Here we cannot ask, did you see him? Right? Did you see him means, did you see him? Do you know where he was? Now we'll take another example. Right now we are talking about two individuals, Nimal and Samar. Nimal says that he was at class last week, but I cannot remember, I cannot recall it. So I ask you, did you see Nimal at class? Did you see Nimal at class last week? Did you see him? Because I talk about something finished in the past. There, of course, I can use the simple past. Right? Have you seen him? Have you seen him in, do you know where it is? That is present perfect. So you know that I am looking for Nimal. I want to collect the key from him. So I just want to know whether you know a place where he is right now. So I would ask you, have you seen him? Have you seen Nimal? Have you seen him means, do you know where he is right now? So that is the difference. So you should understand that we basically use the simple past tense to talk about finished actions in the past. We use the present perfect tense to talk about finished actions of the action is finished and gone to the past, but we can see or experience the result or the outcome that comes out of the action. So write, wrote, written. I have written the lesson. I have translated all the sentences. Have you understood the lesson? Right? You can say a coconut has fallen into the well. By using present perfect, you can say that a coconut has fallen into the well. Right? Then the action is falling, it is finished and gone to the past, and you can see the fallen coconut in the well. My mother has cooked dinner. Now we can have dinner. She has laid the table. Don't sell the bear skin before you have caught the bear. Every oak has been an acorn. You know that oak, the acorn is the seed of the oak fruit. It is very tiny. Drink as you have brewed. Tadisang vapate bijan, tadisang harate palang, a bit similar. Wine has drowned more men than the sea. I have written articles on different topics. Now you can see a few examples for present perfect. And you have worn a good t-shirt. When I say that you have worn a good t-shirt, the action is wearing, that is finished and gone to the past, but I can see that now you are in a good t-shirt. And the other one, I have cut my finger. Right? Cut කියන්නේ කපනවා නෙවෙයි කැපිලා තියෙන. I have cut my finger. මගේ ඇඟිල්ල මගේ අතින් කැපිලා තියෙනවා. I am unable to write. When you say that I have cut my finger, right, you mean that your finger is wounded. It is injured. Yes, Dinasritero, would you like to ask anything? I have lost my key.
I have written this one, sixth one. My finger has cut.
Yeah, that is not correct. Right? You see that cut, sell, right. Now you can see a few words here. Right? Most of the time, we say cut kapana, sell liana, right? Sell vikunana, right? Liana. Right? But most of the time, each and every verb has two meanings. That means two sides of one meaning. Each and every verb has two sides of one particular meaning. Right? Can liya nama, liya venama. Sell vikunanava, vikinenama. Cut can kapanava, kapenava. Now you see that I cut vegetable with a knife. Right? Then kapanava. This knife isn't cutting well. Kapen, we are in kapen. They sell computers. Everything is selling today. හැම දෙයක්ම අද විකිනෙනවා මුදලට. විකිනෙනවා. I write with the pen. This pen is not writing well. මේ pen හරියට ලිය වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Right? We are not quite aware of that kind of meaning of a verb. That's why we get it mistaken. අපි කපනවා කියන අර්ථයෙන් ගන්න අරන්. I have cut my finger. तर cut කියන්නේ කැපිලා තියෙනවා. I have cut මගේ අතින් කැපිලා තියෙනවා. My finger කොහෙ හරි ගිහිල්ලා තනියම කප්පාගෙන ඉන්නේ. You can't make your finger the subject. There. In that sense. පුළුවන් වෙලා හරි බැරි වෙලා හරි ඒක තමන්ගේ අතින් කෙරෙන්නේ. So you have to say I මගේ අතින් have cut කැපිලා තියෙනවා my finger. I මගේ අතින් have cut කැපිලා තියෙනවා my finger. My finger is wounded. We can say my finger is cut. My finger is cut. මගේ ඇඟිල්ල කැපිලා තියෙනවා. ඒතර cut is not a verb there. When you say my finger is cut, cut is not a verb there. Is the verb. Right. I have had my lunch. When you say that I have had my lunch, first have is the helping verb.
Seventh one.
Yeah.
Seventh.
I have lost my key. Have you seen it? I have lost my key. Have you seen it? When you say that I have lost my key, right? I can't find my key right now. It is not with me right now. I don't have it right now. It is missing at the moment. And have you seen it? I just want to know whether you know where it is right now. So always the present perfect is bound with sort of present. not past. I have had my lunch. Have is the helping verb. Had is used in the sense of eaten. Had is equal to eaten. I have eaten my lunch, but we don't say I have eaten. Instead, we say I have had my lunch. Had is used in the sense of eaten. When you say that I have had my lunch, that means your tummy is full with lunch right now. You can't think of having lunch anymore. Right? You can't think of having lunch further. Now you are okay with that. The program has ended. The program has started. Right? Then the action is starting. That is already finished and gone to the past. You can see the result. The program is in progress right now. The program is going on right now. And have you brought the book to the class? Have you brought the books to the class? Are the books with you? Somebody has broken the window.
Ninth one.
What is the ninth one?
The class look like now.
You have painted the class. When you say that you have painted the class, the action is painting, it is finished and gone to the past. ඔයාලා පොත පන්තියට ගෙනල්ලාද? The classroom looks very new. You have painted the classroom. The classroom looks new. You have painted the classroom. පොත පන්තියට ගෙනල්ලාද? Have you brought the books to the class? Have you brought the books to the class? Own පන්තියට ඇවිල්ලා. They have come for class. That means now they are at class right now. And when it comes to simple present tense, we use just already yet. Just means a short time ago. Already means before you expected. Yet means until now. Right? The class has started. Simple present perfect tense. The class has just started. The class has just started. That means the class has started a very short time ago. So just is used before the main verb, after the helping verb. The class has already started. The class usually starts at, you just think that we are talking about a class which usually starts at 8. But now it is 7:50, the class is in progress. That means it has started before you expected. Right? In a context of that type, or in a situation of that type, you would say the class has already started. Right? If something has happened before you expected, then of course you use already plus present perfect. And the opposite of that is yet. Now it is 8:15. The class usually starts at 8 o'clock. But now it is 8:15, but the class is not in progress yet. So you would say the class hasn't started yet. Yet is used at the end of negatives and questions, but not negative questions. It is 8:15, the class hasn't started yet. Right? Now you can say by using present perfect, I have had my breakfast. That means you are okay with that. Right now your belly is full with breakfast. Maybe 1 or 2 hours. I have just had my breakfast. That means maybe 5 or 10 minutes you had it. I have already had my breakfast. That means you had it before somebody or anybody expected. I haven't had my breakfast yet. Right? That means it is now it is high time for you to have your breakfast, but you haven't. Yeah, you would say that I haven't had my breakfast yet. And when it comes to questions, so have you had your dinner yet? Have you had your breakfast yet? So ප්‍රශ්න වල yet දානකොට not you දන්නේ නැහැ. Now he is going to bed නිදාගන්න. He is just going to bed මේ දැන්. It's only 7, but he's in bed. Then you would say he's already gone to bed because you don't expect anybody to go to bed that much early, but it has happened. There you would say that there you would use already plus present perfect. And you can see the opposite yet. It is almost 12, but he's still awake. Then you would say he hasn't gone to bed yet. Right? You don't want anybody to be awake by that late. 12 o'clock, midnight. Then you would say, if you notice that somebody is still awake, even by that time, you would say he hasn't gone to bed yet. The opposite of already. And gone to, the difference between gone to and been to. Right? You cannot use gone to for anyone who is in front, who is with you or in front of you. Now you see that Nimal is not with us. So you can say Nimal has gone to Kataragam. He'll be back tomorrow. When you say that Nimal has gone to Kataragam, he is either his way there or he's in Kataragam. He is not among us. He is not in front of us. He is not with us. Someone then we use been to. Someone has been to Kataragam twice. He went there even last month. Now he is at class. She's gone shopping. She'll be back now. Back in an hour. Right now she is not at home. She's been shopping. That means now she is at home. We live. Have you been to Jaffna? Or have you gone to Jaffna? And you can see that it is there. It is there. It's been there since more. You see that whenever you want to say that something is present at something is there at present, you can just use is to are. Just to mention of being of particular thing. But if you want to say that, if you want to emphasize particular being of something or somebody covering from past up to now, there you need to turn to the present perfect and make the idea. It becomes present perfect. It has been. Right? Due to it, we have to use has with the helping verb. Is becomes its third form, past participle, be. We are ready. That means now we are okay. Now we are ready. Ready we've been ready for a long time. Yeah, you need to turn to the present perfect and make the idea. Present tense is not strong enough. You cannot say we are ready for a long time. That is incorrect. Some more examples. The car is in the garage. It's been there for a week. Right? Similar kind of thing. I have a bike. Now, if you possess a bike, you can say that I have a bike. Otherwise, I don't have. Do you have like that? By using present perfect, that you can say that you possess something. Just to say that somebody possesses something, you can use either has or have. I have a bike. But if you want to say that you possess it from past up to now, simple present is not strong there. You need to turn to the present perfect and make the idea like I have had this bike for 2 years. You got it 2 years ago and you still have it. He has a camera. He doesn't have a camera. That is for simple present. When you say that he has a camera, you mean that he possesses a camera. But if you want to say that he's got it from past up to now, there you need to turn to the present perfect and make the idea. He has had it for 2 years. Then you say that he got it 2 years back. He got it 2 years ago. Even now he has it. So it is actually, kind of mixture of present and past regarding possession, covering from past up to now. So you see that you go to the doctor and you would say, the doctor would ask you, what's wrong with you? What's the matter with you? Then you would say, doctor, I have a stomachache. The doctor would ask, how long have you had it? Since when have you had it? Right? There, he used the present perfect. Then you have to respond using present perfect. Doctor, I have had it for 2-3 days. I have had it for 2-3 days. Initially, you told that, doctor, I have a bad stomachache. Yeah, you just use the simple present. But when the doctor raised from what time to what time, like that, using present perfect, since when have you had it? How long have you had it? Then you responded using present perfect. I've had it for 2-3 days. I have had it for 2-3 days. Have you ever been to India? When raising questions covering from past up to now, right? Even there, you need to turn to present perfect and raise questions. A few examples.